I might offend a few people here today. I just want to let you know that I'm talking about an idea. So as long as we can separate ourselves from an idea for a few minutes, hopefully we can all learn something. Please go. So for the first 26 years of my life, I was a conservative Christian. Much like many of you in this room, my entire world, or my understanding of that world, was seen through the lens of men who lived in the desert thousands of years ago. And I learned about these men every Sunday in Sunday school, and during the most fucking boring hour of my goddamn life, listening to the small town celebrity, the preacher, drone on and on and on. But the message is always the same. It was some outlandish story about a bush that was on fire but wouldn't burn, and about God killing everybody on the planet, which all got worked into somehow me being a terrible person, and nothing that I did was ever good. But God gave me the opportunity to be fully good, but some asshole ate an apple, and now I can't stop getting erections from the evil boobs. But, hey guys, it's okay, because God waited 6 million years to impregnate a virgin in the Middle East so that she would give birth to a God baby. And then God, who is also the God baby, but not the God baby, and then a third God spirit, required us to kill the God baby because we're all pieces of shit. Thank you. That's the first amen I've ever gotten while talking. Okay, anyways. So, I never got the chance to see if this stuff was logically consistent with my reality, because all the authorities in my life told me that this was true. And when you're a child, you believe what people tell you is true. But what I always thought was, God is not answering me. What am I doing wrong? See, it was never, maybe there's not a God, because the preacher always taught me that Satan was looking for a foothold in my life. And that what would happen is if he took that foothold, I would probably die on the car ride home and spend eternity burning in hell, which always made me terrified of the car ride home. Yeah, anyways, Satan is the ball and chain that keeps all of us trapped and imprisoned into a very bad idea. You see, I go home and I would go to bed and stare up at the ceiling and think to and actually pray to God and ask him, where are you? What am I doing wrong? But you know what? He never answered me. I never felt an answer at all. So I ended up going into ministry because I wanted to believe so desperately this God was real that I decided to give up my life for him so that he would finally give me a fucking answer. But after several years in ministry, and thousands of prayers falling on deaf ears, I grew tired of asking God, where are you? And at this point in my life, I had gotten rid of most of my possessions. I had moved to New York City, and I struggled to live so that I could bring Jesus to people in the big city. But God never answered. I gave up my life to serve God. I would have given up my life for God. All I wanted was for him to reveal himself to me and reveal himself as being true. Is that so much to ask out of a God that wants a personal relationship with me? One night, so eventually I burnt out, and I couldn't do it anymore. So one night in May, I was sitting on my rooftop, and I just got up the courage to face my eternity in hell. And I asked myself a new question. Why do I think a God should be true? Why do I think there should be a God? Well, because Jesus tells me so. But Jesus, the God baby, wasn't written about until decades after he died, from a people in a different country who were writing in a different language than Jesus spoke. Which is why historians say it's impossible to distinguish the myth of Jesus from the person of Jesus. So we have no fucking idea what this man said, or what he intended to say. And if we look at it further from a historian's perspective, we honestly don't really see that Jesus thought he was the Messiah, or that when he died, he may not have even been thinking of us. What we do have evidence for is that the gospel writers were embellishing stories, and they were making things up ad hoc to fit in with their ideas of Jesus. The Bible was put together from a few different manuscripts and books that were being passed around by the early church. And they voted on which ones they wanted to put in the Bible based on their ideas of God. Could you imagine what happened if our religious leaders today voted on what they wanted to put in a book? You see, the Pew Research Center, the reason why I was believing in a God was because a myth-making culture in the ancient world did what they did best, and they made another myth. One that is out of touch with reality and sadly out of touch with a culture that has evolved past stoning women and sacrificing birds to make it rain. You see, the Pew Research Center just came out with a poll saying that Christians have lost 8% of their followers. And they're freaking out, and they're asking all sorts of questions like, how can I change my building, or how can I change my program? Others are pointing fingers at all the irrational fears they have, like gay people and Obama. But they're entirely missing the point. We're not going to your church because of your stupid building, or because gay people are sending their rainbow demons. We're leaving the church because... I have a slide for that, yes. You see, we're leaving the church because you're following after a deeply flawed set of ideas. Because we have more access in this generation than we have in all generations previous. And we can see that there's no evidence to support any of your claims. We're leaving the church because we're sick and tired of politicians and priests trying to control our bodies, our minds, and our lives with your outdated, misogynistic, bigoted, racist, and scientifically literate ideas. We are leaving the church because we are free. Not free of sin, because that's not a real fucking thing.